Hey everyone, my name is Hunter Page and I'm going to be showing you how to merge two pictures in Lightroom, which will be this image here, which will be the sky image, and this image here, which will be the foreground image. Now there's a couple of reasons why you want to do this, and that is the sky is really nice and lit in this image, but the shadows and the darks on this image are really dark, and most cameras you really can't just bridge the gap in order to capture the brights of the sky and the darks of the foreground. And so what you do is you end up taking two pictures, one specifically exposed for the sky and one specifically exposed for the foreground, such as this. Now, there are a couple of things that need to be done to each of these images individually and together. So I'm going to be showing you how to do all of that. So first things first, I'm going to select both of these images. I'm going to come over here to our adjustment panel, come down to detail, and I just want to make sure that our sharpening is all the way down. We don't have any noise turned on. Just put everything at 0. You will also come down to optics, and this is up to you if you want to do this, but I will usually enable lens correction. And what this does in this image is it just takes away this vignette that the wide angle lens gives. At this point, I'm going to select just one image here, which is our sky image, and I'm going to specifically adjust this image to bring out the nice colors of the sky before blending these two images together. So this is what we're going to do here. For the sky image, I'm going to come up to our light adjustment panel. I'm going to grab our highlights and bring these down just a little bit. And the reason I'm doing that is that it is quite bright over here, and I just want to preserve those highlights. And bringing that highlight down, you are able to see better colors over here. Another thing I want to do is grab our shadows, pull those up a little bit, just to bring out some of the darker areas here in the sky. And I think that looks good there. I'm going to come down to color and play around with the temperature and tint slider, and to really bring out more of like the yellows up here in the sky, I'm going to come to the temp, click and hold this and drag to the right and add a little bit of warmth into the sky. So somewhere around 5600 or so looks pretty good to me. And then come down to the tint. Pushing to the left is going to add green, to the right is going to add magenta. So I will probably end up adding some magenta to this to give a little bit of reds in the sky. So about 32 looks good to me. At this point, I think the sky looks pretty much fine. I mean, there's a couple of things you could do, such as coming down to the effects and taking out some clarity, giving more of like an ethereal soft feel to this image, maybe -6. You could grab dehaze and add just a little bit, maybe +3, +4 to 5, to add more definition. And I think that's good for this specific image. So that's the before and after for the sky. Now for the foreground image. This image is overall too bright to then put with this image. It just won't look natural blending these two together. So I'm going to darken down this foreground a little bit and make it look more natural to the sky. So you can come up, grab the first adjustment, which is the exposure. I'm going to tone that down just a little bit. Maybe come down to the shadows. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to pull up the shadows here and even the whites, but take down the exposure, and this is going to give a little bit of subtle contrast where I'm dimming the entire image, but I'm also grabbing the highlights down here and boosting those up, which is creating some subtle mid-tone contrast. Something that is really nice with this is just come down here to the curves, grab about 3/4 of the way down this line here, and just pull this down just a little bit. And now that looks pretty good to me. Something else I'd like to do, come down to the color, down to the temp slider and the tint slider, and whether I believe this is too warm or too cool, this is when you want to adjust that. So click and hold. I'm just going to pull this to the left toward the cooler tones and see what that gives me, and push that back to the right. Just kind of get a feel of how I want this to look. Again, I don't want it too warm, I don't want it too cool, I want it neutral. So I'm just going to go with about 6300 on this one. Tint, you know, you want to adjust this again. You don't want it too magenta or too green. So looking at this overall, about the 30 range looks good. We're going to select both of these images because they are now both complete and look good on their own for their specific areas. So I'm going to command and click, make sure they are both selected. Come up to photo, and all the way at the very bottom you'll see a photo merge. And you're not doing a panorama merge or HDR panorama, you're just doing the HDR merge. Now that this is done merging, you can now see we have our foreground image mixed with our really nice sky image. Over here on the right, something that you want to have selected is auto align and apply auto settings. Down here is de-ghost amount. So when you're merging images, and especially when like the foreground image is really bright, like how this one started out, when you go to merge these two images with such different exposures, it's gonna usually create this line along the edges, along the horizon line. And that is where this de-ghost comes in handy, because it's trying to blend those, you know, layers together. But in this image, you don't need it at all. It looks great without it. So just go ahead and merge. Once Lightroom has saved that merged image, it's going to show down here at this number 3, because both of your images then blended together created another image, making 3 total images. Just double click and this will show you your 3 images. So this was the foreground, this was the sky image, and then this is the image blended together. A really nice foreground, really nice sky. And that is how you merge multiple images in Lightroom. If you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to watch the other ones I have out here on YouTube. You are also welcome to go to my website, which is hunterpagephotography.com, where I have more educational videos, workshops, photo tours based here in southern Utah, which is just very close to this area right here, which is Factory Butte area. So feel free to check that out. Have a good day. See ya.